in for a treat. This guy, boy, I mean, I can't say enough good things about him. This guy, please we'll just give it up for God himself, Benedict! Just the one of us. Just the one of us. Oh, God. Just the one of us. Can't make it if you try. Just the one of us. Guys. Nice, really nice. I'm like, great, second verse, go. Give it up for the band. Hi, everybody. Hi. How's your con going so far? Good, that's great to hear. All right, let's talk this out. All right, well, I guess, so how many people are like mad at God that I was? Cool. How many people were like, you know what, I liked him, I think he got a bad rap? 1, 2, 3. Krista, I'm disappointed. I really thought your hand would go up there. Yeah.
This is Rob's con.
Okay, great. So we've got the odds are against me. So let's see if we can work on that. Let's have some questions, and we'll see what we can do.
So I know I had an unfair advantage of knowing that God was going to be evil because I named my lizard Chuck for Chuck G. Zilla, and all of a sudden he was an ass.
Wow. So, was he nice before that?
Yeah, he was like really calm, and then like wouldn't let me touch him after I named him. So I'm just
right.
So I'm just wondering when you knew that Chuck was gonna not end up being the nicest God.
Well, first of all, yeah, look, I feel like your lizard's misunderstood. And also we're wearing the same jacket. I think you just need to talk to him and be gentle. Maybe he's more sensitive than you think he is. When did I know he was going to be bad? I knew when I read the script at the end of season 14. I didn't know before that. And I was reading the script and I was like, what the hell? Why am I being such an asshole?
I have questions about that too.
Okay,
I have questions.
You know what? You had your time.
I have questions about the lizard. I have so many questions. I'll ask them later.
You tell them. I'm a pretty good person, right, Ruth?
You have wonderful moments.
Aw, gee, thanks.
You're the best. You're the best.
So, anyway, I'm like literally blushing. So I'm reading the script and I'm like, wow, I'm acting a little bit off. There's something, what's going on? And then when I'm like, welcome to the end, I'm like, what the hell? And then I was like, oh man, people are gonna hate me. And I was really enjoying that people liked me. And so yeah, no, that's when I found out. And then they were like, oh yeah, you're gonna be the big bad of the last season. And look, I mean, yeah, aside from the fact that it's not something I'm used to, like people, like fans being like, I hated you. But I appreciate it. For me, I think it was a great way to go out. Like the boys in their 15th season take on the creator of their existence. I just thought that was a great, like, what a better way to go out, like to fight God himself for the big finale. And I think the writers did a great job. But yeah, that being said, it took some getting used to being the bad guy. Exactly. So yeah, no, but that's when I knew. Basically, when you all knew, I read it as you watched it. I was like, what have I done? So yeah. Anyway, props out to Chuck the Lizard. Give him my love. He's just a lizard, man. That's all he's thinking. Like maybe he's in a crabby mood because he's like a lizard. He just wants to be walking on the rocks and, I don't know. I feel like I totally get him.
Doing local things.
Okay, yes?
Hi.
Hi.
So I know at previous conventions, people have like told you about the whole Chuck 1 theory because Chuck's ending kind of happened on the show. So I'm just wondering if you could like kind of elaborate on that and like, what do you think about it? Like,
Right, so you're talking about the theory that like Chuck is still in control?
yeah, because like Jack like shifted as soon as he became God. Like
Right.
he like started taking your stands,
Right.
and then also like exactly what Chuck wanted to happen that he wrote in Atomic Monster, I think. Like literally happened. 'Cause,
Right.
you know, Dean dies and Sam has to live alone.
Right.
So like, I don't know. I would just like to know what you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Elaborate a little bit.
I like any scenario where Chuck is. Look, here's the thing. All of this is just us just talking, right? So this is I don't think the writers necessarily had this in mind, but it was presented to me. Wouldn't it be cool if like Chuck was actually still like if the series had ended and they wave on the bridge or whatever. And then it's like pans out and it's like a book closes and it's me. Still, like I planned the entire thing, even my own demise is still all under the creation of my show. And the theory there is that I think Chuck was Eric Kripke, wrote Chuck as himself, basically. So in that metaphor, Eric Kripke is the almighty creator of Supernatural, the television show. And so Chuck was the creator of that universe, of that world, of all the universes, of everything. And so, yeah, so in that theory, he's still in control. And I kind of liked that as, and it was cute to me. Like he closes the book and he's like, like he's not a bad guy even. He just created all this drama because he was trying to give you all some entertainment. And so, right, so look, I like that because I'm not alone in the dust somewhere, working at a gas station along some highway that no one ever goes to, Like, they left me so in the lurch at the end of the show, that was not fun. So it is fun to think that maybe the Chuck is maybe still writing the show, even though you think that he's not. He is actually still in control, but in a good way. But in a good way. I know it's hard, because it's like, I'm telling you, hey, yeah, okay, I kidnapped you, but I was just kidding. You know what I mean? Like I did something really bad with people that you loved, but it was all okay in the end. Okay, so it's like, I was never really bad because I love these guys. But the show needed to end so that Sam could do Walker. Okay, the show needed to end because Dean had a role on The Boys to play. Okay? I needed to give you those two shows, and so I needed to end this one, and this is the only way I could see how to do it. Okay? And I gave my God powers in the show to Sweet Jack. And we love Jack. He's so sweet. He's going to make a great God. You go, Jack. But really, I'm still writing the show. But in a good way, I was happy. But it's over now. It's time to go. It just is. This show needed to end, and it ended. And you know why it needed to end? Because Sam and Dean were like, hey, we want to go do these other shows. So I was like, okay, I'm God. I'll make that happen. So there's a lot going on here, guys. So before you just hate me straight out, just like, maybe take a look at all the facts. The big picture. So now I've given you 2 shows. I've given you more Sam and Dean. I've given you 2 different shows on the air. And not only that, they're doing other things. Hey, you want a prequel? I'll give you a prequel. And guess what? I'm not gone. Because I don't know that I'm going to be on the prequel, but I might as well be because I'm still God in that world. Guess who's back? Good God. I was the good guy back then, so that's exciting. And then I'm going to play it like this. I'm going to pitch that to Jensen. You should have me on that show. So I just come in the room and go like... Anyway, I'm just a goofball. But yeah, so I like that theory, because I win and I don't lose. But in a good way. Is that good? Okay, thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
So my question is, off of the new Loud and Swain album, which song was your favorite, or is your favorite to perform, and which one was your favorite to record?
Oh man, that's a good question. So, a lot of that album we had to sort of write and arrange and partially record away from each other because of COVID. So I would say the one that was most gratifying to write and record was The Company, because we did that completely separate from each other, and I was proud of the way that it all gelled together at the end. So like, Mike sent me this keyboard part, and I wrote lyrics, then we sent it to Norton. Norton recorded his drums alone, and then we gave each other notes, and then Billy added his part, and it all just kind of came together in the end. So I was just really excited about the way that that came out, and it's a very personal song to me, but it's like, the lyrics are, I think, some of the better ones that I think I've written, so I'm really proud of it that way. And the one that's most fun to play, I really like Comeback Kid. I really like the way that feels when we play it, and Foolish Romance is super fun to play too. So, what's your favorite?
The Company and Letter.
Oh yeah, Letter's great too. Yeah, Letter's fun. That's fun to play, and it's kind of it's fun to play Basement and No Hope, just because that's a funny story to tell when we play it. That I've told now every time we play it, and I always feel like everyone knows the story, but then I retell it because sometimes people don't know. But anyway, that's a fun song to play too. Thanks for listening to the album.
Morning. Like a lot of Supernatural fans, I'm also a fan of the TV show Lucifer.
Aha!
And I watched the second season and thought, wow, Rob really does want to be hated by a lot of fans.
Yeah.
So my question actually is, did you go after another cold-blooded villain role?
Yeah. Because
it's so different from your natural persona.
Killing shows since 1998. I didn't go after it. It was kind of a coincidence. They called and said they had this role they wanted me to do, and I was like, oh great, super, what is it? And they're like, it's a French mercenary. I'm like, oh, perfect. And they're like, oh, and by the way, you're killing one of the fan favorite characters. I'm like, oh, great. So it coincided exactly. I was shooting that at the same time that I was making bad things happen on Supernatural, so that was fun. But no, it was actually really, really great, really fun to work with, because I knew some of those people beforehand, and I knew Tom. I met Tom through the convention circuit, and we had become really good friends, and I was at his wedding, and so it was fun to then work with him, and then it didn't really become clear to me like where the part was going, and then in the next season, I love where it went, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I love how you got to weave in that other character within my character, and that was really fun to do. But yeah, no, that part came to me. I didn't go looking for it, but and then I'm like, wow, man, I guess maybe I'm just a bad guy. And then like all these other little guest stars I'm getting, I'm an asshole. I don't know. It's weird. I think because. I think it's just a character I can channel pretty easily, like someone who's got that, because I know that guy. But anyway, that's not really like who I am, but it's fun to play. It's fun as a person that tries to do good and be good in real life, to like be given permission to be really bad with no actual real life consequences. That's kind of fun as an actor. So to play someone, I love the challenge of playing someone that's opposite me, and that a French mercenary couldn't have been more opposite, and it was super fun to do. Great group of people.
Well, it was super fun to watch, so
thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Lucifer. You should watch that if you haven't. It's a good show.
Yeah. Hi. Okay.
Hi.
Holy crap, this is so, okay. When did Jensen and Brianna start singing with you? Like, did they come over to you one day and say, hey, we could sing, can we sing with you? Like, it's perfect, but how did that happen?
It all kind of happened organically. I mean, They found out, Creation found out I was in a band. This was like 2009, 2010. Like, hey, would your band want to play one of the conventions? And my band played, and Richard was there, so he saw the band, and he really liked the band. And so then eventually they asked Richard to host, and he was like, well, I'll host if Rob's band could be on stage with me. So then, the band sort of organically started play here, and honestly, it was such a, it really organically happened, but we would all sing karaoke together, and like, Brianna has a great voice, and then it was like, but it didn't stop there. It was like, yeah, Branson and Jensen have great voices, but like, Kim has an amazing voice, and Ruth can sing, and David Hayden Jones can sing. There are so many gifted people in this community, and then I think this idea of the Saturday night special sort of came about because we're like, we'll do a Loud and Swain show, and then we'll piece it in with some people from the show actually coming on and singing either our songs or cover songs. So it actually was like, that's kind of where it sort of began, and I think then it kind of went from there, and now, they sing with us and they sing on their own, and, I think it encouraged everybody to sort of explore that part of their talent a little bit more. I think that was the case with Jensen and Brianna making their own music. And honestly, none of this would be possible if it hadn't been for Jason Manns, who really started with music at the conventions. And he's kind of always been kind of the glue. He's kind of the godfather of everyone who wants to sing. Kind of the band does its own thing, but then Jason's like, he helps produce Brianna's album and Gil McKinney's album. Gil McKinney has an amazing voice, Gil McKinney's album. And, he helps with all that stuff, and he's so good about that. So, yeah, it's just been this great sort of added bonus. I mean, the conventions themselves are such a bonus thing. You work on a show. I've been working in the business now for, 25 years, and it's not even that this is rare. This is like just a completely unique, there's no other show like Supernatural. And there's no, it is, and the other shows that have conventions aren't like the conventions that Supernatural has. It's a different thing, and the family, for those of you who are new, I really think this is a completely unique situation where first of all, we're a family. Everybody here is a family, and we support each other, and you all make friends with each other and make connections with each other. We make connections with each other, and then we make connections with you, and it's just this great feeling of community here that I don't see in the same way at other conventions. And so it's just this special moment, and to be on the show that was so great I feel so blessed. But then to be able to share it with a group of people who love it as much as you do is this other blessing, and I just think it's so special, and so the music has become this other sort of just magical part of this whole experience, and to share the mic with my friends it's amazing, and so yeah, so it's just all part of this amazing experience. I don't think you have that anywhere else. I really don't. And I try to explain it to my friends who are not in the convention circuit, and they can't quite get it unless they come. You know what I mean? You almost have to come to experience it. And if you don't feel it right now, you will after the show tonight. That's a feeling where it all comes together. Because there's something that happens when we're playing music, and when I sing my own songs and I'm putting my heart out there, and then the actors come out, and it's not necessarily their most comfortable place to be singing. It's a very vulnerable place to be, and so we're all putting our heart out there, and you all give us so much. Like we're not doing this if you're not here, and I can't wait till it's safe to hug you again and to go out and high five you, and because when I play, all I want to do is I just want to give you a big hug. It's just, I can't tell you, I don't take any of this for granted, and I feel so lucky to be here, and I'm very humbled by this whole thing. And sometimes this idea that I'm on this stage in front of you almost it's not quite the metaphor for how it feels in my body. I want to be out there with you, because I feel like all of us are we're in this together, Anyway, I'm rambling, but... Yeah, I love you.
Hi, Rob.
Hi.
So my question for you, have you ever had an audition or a job interview where you felt like, oh my God, I'm not going to get this, and then you did? And what was it, if so?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, usually I feel that way. Auditioning has changed so much because when I got started, and really until about 5 years ago, you'd go into the room and you'd be with them in the room, and so you really had a feeling of, like, I usually had a good vibe. Like if I walked out, I was like, that was amazing, that went great, and then you feel like you have a fairly good shot of getting it. And then there were the ones where you're like, oh man, that was really bad. And now it's not, you don't go in the room, so you have no idea sometimes how you did, except in your own head. You're like, was that good? I don't know. What is good? Who am I? So, because now it's all on tape. You put yourself on tape and you send in that audition. But recently, I put myself on tape, for NCIS Hawaii. It was a recent one where I came out of the audition and I was like, I put myself on tape. Sometimes there's a place in LA where they put you on tape if you can't find someone to read with you. So I did that, and I go in my car, I'm like, well, I stank that up, didn't get that. And then sure enough, I get the call next day, you got it. I'm like, okay. I guess that went okay. So yeah, honestly, that probably happens more often than not, and I try not to. You know, they always say, like, if you want to get the job, you really have to sort of envision yourself getting it. You know, but they put the energy forward so that the universe makes this happen, you know. It's super hard. It's the hardest thing about what we do. It's like so hard, and I've never gotten used to auditioning. I don't like that feeling of being judged in that way, you know. So yeah, that happens a lot. That happened with that. Yeah, but I'm trying to think of another time it happened. But yeah, that does happen. It definitely happens. And so that's why I'm in therapy. Because I have to be, to keep my mind centered. Thank you. You look so good. Everybody looks so good in their question light. You're so well lit.
If you could choose one song to play whenever you walked into a room, what song would it be?
Oh, wow.
What if God was one of us?
Yeah, What If God Is One of Us would definitely be my show song. But like me, Rob Benedict, I walk in a room and a song just comes on. What song would that be? Okay, maybe it would be, well, you know, it's like if I was in a sports team, like in baseball, like the players can choose their walk-up song, I think it would be Alive by Pearl Jam. Yeah, I think that would be my walk-up song, just to get me fired up to hit the ball. And take the bat and be like, what the hell am I doing? I can't play baseball. I don't even know, so I hold the bat. So but where did that come from? What is that?
I think it's like
Wow. Just gonna turn around, there's this big bloom of disco flowers. Alive by Pearl Jam. Yeah, Alive by Pearl Jam, and yeah, Alive by Pearl Jam. Hi.
Hi, my name's Savannah, and we've established that Chuck is kind of like a controversial character. Either like you love him or you hate him, but you also can't deny that he's pretty badass. So what scene when you were filming was like, did you really realize how badass Chuck was?
I think it was when I made Becky and her family disappear. I know, and I had to do it. I mean, things happened later in the season that were even more douchey, like making that dog disappear at the end. I know, I had to do it. But man, making Becky, that felt good. I mean, awful to have to do. I mean, it was just that ultimate power of like, oh, Becky, I'm a writer, I can do whatever I want. You know, that was so mean. And then her husband comes in, he's like, what the? I'm like, that one. And then she's like, what is it? And I was like, hey, it's fine. And she's like, and I was like, Becky, oh man, that felt real badass, I gotta say. And then like and then the scene with Amara, the whole bit with Amara, that felt pretty good, where you think that she's on, but and then I ate her. That was fun. And I felt pretty badass. And when I got to say that like bad guys have all the best lines, because it's true, I always loved Mark Pellegrino's Lucifer, because he has the best lines. And Shepard too had great lines. And I was like, oh cool, I get to do that, that's fun. So I guess there was a lot of it. But yeah, getting to zap Becky, even though I love her and I wish I hadn't done that, it just did feel pretty kind of badass. And you know, beating up on the boys was kind of cool. I mean, just strictly from a like, I would never be able to do that in real life. I'm so little. And I beat the hell out of them. That was a whole day of beating, with me winning for the first time in my life. I mean, I practically need a ladder to get up to Jared's chair. But I was doing it. And those guys are so good at getting beat. Like they've been doing it for so long. It was like this dance. And it was great because I learned the moves. It just felt so good. I was like, whack! And he really went down. I was like, huh! Like, oh, wow. What the hell? I'm God. And then on the flip side, if nothing felt less cool than being left in the dust at the end when they drove away. Oh man, that was a nightmare for me personally, because I'm a FOMO, I'm a person, fear of missing out. I hate not being left out of the party. And they're like, later Chuck, and I'm like, oh, take me with you. Don't leave me. Those were real tears for me. I hate that. So yeah, that felt really uncool. But it felt pretty cool to beat up the boys. Anyway, thanks for the question. I liked it too much. I liked that question too much.
You're not gonna like my question. So you can sing, you can act. If you wanted to be a triple threat, like a Jennifer Lopez or a Justin Timberlake, what would your third talent be?
That's a great question. I was ready for something bad. Like you sing, you can act, but you played a douche on TV. Okay, so singing and acting, and then like a third thing, what would it be? I mean, it would be great if I was like a really great dancer. You know, that'd be a great triple threat. You know, like Timberlake and the other person you said. Lopez, yeah, J-Lo and JT and all the PJ and LP and all of them. But I think, yeah, but look, as it is, I'm good. I feel like you know what I mean? It's almost too much. I feel like it'd be overwhelming. Because as it is, like, it's hard to divide my time, you know what I mean, between these two pursuits. And I fancy myself a writer sometimes as well, you know what I mean? So I think that's enough. If you'll accept writing as a triple threat, I'll do that one. However, in our make-believe world, you can sit. I feel bad because I'm rambling, and so the question askers are like, oh, he's still talking. Okay. If I had the time to dance, and I was really good at it, that would be great. And what if Loud and Swain was like a boy band? That'd be awesome.
No.
No. Yes, no, yeah.
So we already started touching on the whole theory about how like Chuck won and stuff, and I was just wondering how you think that if Chuck did have control of the end, how you think he would have written the ending.
Well, I mean, if I go with that theory, he wrote it exactly how it was, like because he did write it, right? I mean, that's that theory. However, just to satisfy what I think your question is, like, if that's wrong, Chuck didn't write the ending because Chuck is not God anymore and all that. But if I had written the ending, I think it would have been more like that. Like, I think it would have been, I think, yeah, like, it would have been great if, like, Jack did the, and I was like, ah, and then, like, it came to, and I was like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. I'm actually a good God. Guys, so, sorry about everything. And I go, and Becky's back, and the dog's back, and Dean doesn't die. Dean and Sam are immortal. And I make Jack, I treat Jack like he's my freaking grandson. What an asshole. You're my grandson. I can't, I'm so sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. It's nice to meet you. Let's go fishing. Like a real grandfather would do. And maybe I snap back all the archangels and they're all there. We're there together. Lucifer, I love you, son. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I'm a good dad. Michael, Richard. Love you guys. You guys are all my pals. Let's be a great family. Let's do this. Let's rock and roll. And we all get in the car together. I don't know how we fit. We're like clowns in a clown car. And the baby's all weighted down. It's like, and we all drive away together, and it's everything so happy ending. End of the show. That'd be good. And then come to these conventions and be like, I loved God in the end. And I'd say, me too. But no.
And they pick up Balthazar and it becomes an orgy.
Hi, I have been really enjoying the Supernatural Then and Now podcast. So
thank you. Thank you so much.
And I was just wondering how that idea came about and how it's going and what we can hope to see in future episodes.
Yeah. So she's asking me about a podcast that Richard and I do that we host called Supernatural Then and Now, and it's a rewatch podcast. So Richard and I are watching the show for the first time, and every episode we're talking about a new episode of the show in order. We'll be doing the show for the next 15 years, and not a joke. And it's anyway. So we're on season 1 right now, and it's super fun. If you haven't listened to it, give it a listen. We have people on the show who worked on Supernatural and had to do with the specific episodes we're talking about. So it came about because Eric Kripke's friend, Steve Hine, is one of his oldest friends, and he's a podcast producer, and he'd been doing a couple of rewatch podcasts, like The Good Place was one of his, and so he wanted to do one for Supernatural, and so Kripke said, hey, talk to Misha Collins about that. It might be something he'd be interested in hosting. And when Misha passed, and then they came to me and Richard. Misha was too busy. He couldn't do it. He had his show and going on. So they asked Richard and I to host it. And we were like, yeah, that'd be fantastic. And I thought it was an added bonus that we'd never actually watched the show before. And I say that, like I've watched the show before. But like I haven't seen it from beginning to end. And I really had never seen the first. I hadn't seen it. I'd seen I saw bugs before because I mentioned it in my first episode. But I really hadn't seen a lot of them. And I'd seen, my Friends episodes, but there's a lot I missed. So I'm watching season 1 truly for the first time. And it's great, you guys. No, I'm serious. It's a good show. You're not wrong. It's really fun. It's really fun. And I honestly had low expectations because people always talk about, season 1's like Monster of the Week. Like, it's freaking great. It's great. It's like Pulp Fiction. I love it. And like true Pulp Fiction. And I'm having a blast. And every episode, and also, okay, my character Chuck, when he was the writer, had posters of his books on the wall. And so there were posters, there was one that was the Benders, and there's the Scarecrow, and these are posters in his room. And so I'm watching the Benders for the first time, like, oh, it's a family? I didn't know it was a family. It was real people, no ghosts. It's just a family that's real messed up. That's the Benders. And I say that, I've said this before, but like in the second episode when Jensen's like, it's a family business. I'm like, oh, family business. You're gonna start a beer company and name it that. And saving people, hunting things. He says that in the show. I didn't know he said that. He says it in the show. So, and I'm really loving it. I love Dean. Dean is so kind of Han Solo-y. And Sam is just, you want to hug him, the poor kid. He's had a hard go of it. And what's going on with the dad? I don't know. Where did he go? Why are people burning on the ceiling? I want answers to these questions. So it's fun. And the only spoiler alert for me is that, like, I know that they live until the very end of the show. So in every episode, they almost die. I'm like, you're not gonna die. I know you're not gonna die. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see when I show up, what that's gonna feel like. Who's this guy? So it's super fun. So yeah, check it out where you listen to podcasts on your podcast app. Supernatural Then and Now. It's cool. Thank you very much.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. I'm here, so.
Good. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is based on the characteristics of God versus Chuck. Which would you identify more with, and who would you rather be?
Definitely, I identify more with Chuck, the writer Chuck, who's hiding in his house and drinking in the corner. And it's like, who are you? Go away. That I identify with, especially just when I'm writing. It's like you just want to be kind of left alone, and I mean, I'm not that much of a hermit. I have a life, but I'm, I definitely identify with that more than the grandiose person who controls everything. That's not who I identify with. And who would I rather be? I mean, my gut instinct was going to say, well, Chuck, but who am I kidding? I'd rather be God. I mean, that'd be amazing. Then, everything. You know what I mean? Then there's a solution for everything. That's why Eric Kripke told me after season 5, he was like, so you're God? And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, but you're not going to be coming back to the show. And I was like, oh, this is bad news. And he was like, because you can't have the character of God come in and be like, boom, everything's fixed, And then it turns out he didn't realize the show was going to run for 6 more years after he said that, and so they finally got to bring me back because they needed me because of Mara and what have you. But anyway, to go back to the actual question you were asking, God, I think God, yeah. I'd rather be God because, yeah, I mean, you're sick? Not anymore. You know what I mean? The war? Not anymore. I'd love to fix the problems in the world and also just like give myself a hamburger when I want it. Like a peanut butter filled pretzel. With chocolate. Oh, I just made that because I'm God and stuff. So if I could be a little bit of both, I think that'd be perfect. I'd be a God, but like, just leave me alone a little bit. Like, don't let me. I'll fix it in my own time. I'm really busy with this writing project. I guess that really was God. That was the character I played. But anyway, yeah. So God is the answer to your question, with just a little bit of Chuck in there, and but good, all good, not the bad stuff, good stuff, doing good for the world and community and my stomach. Hope that answers the question. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Rob.
Hello.
Love you.
I love you.
My question is, well, as God, you are writing the supernatural world. If you were to write this world, which mythical creature would you bring in? And if you were manifesting your own future, which role would you want to play next?
Okay, so back up a second. So I'm God, and I'm writing.
You're writing that supernatural world.
That's supernatural.
If you're writing this world, like real world, what mythical creature would you want to bring to life?
In this real reality? Do I have to? That's scary. That freaks me out. This whole thing where the boys are like, so they're chasing supernatural things, and they're just taking it for granted that these things exist. Oh, you know what it must be? It's a shapeshifter. What? How? Who? What world are we in? So I don't know if I really would, when I think mythological creature, I think like, I don't know, like a half horse, half human kind of thing, and I'm not down with that. That would freak me out.
Centaur, but upside down.
Oh, okay, but if I had to, gun to my head, I gotta bring somebody in who's mythological. I'd bring in, what counts as mythological, I guess is my question. Oh, like a unicorn? Seems too easy. Huh? It would be cool. Unicorns. Dragon. Sure. How about one of the Avatar people? Is that mythological? They're kind of cool.
How about a nice
you didn't
Richard
go for that.
Spade?
Who? Imaginary friends. Yeah, I thought you said Ross from Friends. Sure. I bring Ross from Friends, and he would just be in the world. And he wouldn't be David Schwimmer, he'd be Ross from Friends. Hey guys, how did I get here? And you'd be like, oh, hey Ross from Friends. He's like, oh, I'm just Ross from Friends. And then Sam would need to show up and be like, quick, it's Ross from Friends. Give me a silver bullet and a wooden cross and that powder stuff and the chain thing. Oh, Ross from Friends. He's like, yeah, guys, I'm just Ross from Friends.
Just bring Lauren Tom.
That would be fucking great. It's a real life character from a sitcom in the 90s. Quick. Jeez. Yeah, so definitely Ross from Friends. Thank you for your question. Did you have a follow-up? Give her the mic.
If you were manifesting your future, which role would you want to play next?
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, that's a great question. I want to be manifesting my future, and the next role that I would play would be the lead role in a new show that is a single camera half-hour comedy about a guy who just that fights, that doesn't know what he wants to be, and he's in his early 50s, and he's just trying to figure it out. And they go, hey, you're 50, you have it all figured out. And he's like, I actually don't. And I'm heavily medicated, and I go to therapy, and I just want to be normal. And it's called
Normal is Boring.
Normal Guy in Therapy on Medication. Coming to you this fall on NBC. Yeah.
Hi, Rob.
Hello.
Since we're all missing him this weekend, what's your favorite memory with Jared from on or off set?
Man, we have the best time when we get to go out, which is kind of rare because we're working most of the time, but when we have the international conventions, we get to go out. And one time, we had a convention in Rome, and then our next convention was in Australia, and so a bunch of the guys kind of traveled together, and we did a stopover in Dubai, because like, it's Dubai, and like who, and it was a really fun time. We had a really fun time, and there was a water park there, and we went to this water park, and it was super fun to see big old Jared. Well, it's big old. I mean, he's skinny as a stick, but he's like super tall, and on an inner tube. It's so big, man. His legs are like going like over the side of the tub or whatever, and he's like, but he had the biggest grin on his face. He's like, and with all just legs, and it was super fun. But well, this is a story more about Jason Mans than Jared, but we just were laughing our asses off. It's just so fun. And one of the first things we did like, it was like a roller coaster water slide, but it started where the water pushed you up, so you're actually going up on the water slide, so like it's sucking you up. There are like things underneath, and it's like sucking you up, so you're like going up like it's a roller coaster. And Jason Mans gets to the ramp. Billy filmed it, didn't you? And it got stuck. So he was stuck, and I couldn't lift him up. And me and Jared and Jensen were ahead of him, and all of a sudden, our ride stopped. You're like, what the hell? Like, what happened? And we realized it was Jason. It got stuck, and we laughed until we were crying, like there were tears.
His face was priceless. It was just like.
Yeah, Jason had a grin. He's like, well, what are you gonna do? Anyway, that was really fun. I miss Jared, but but yeah, he'll be back. It's just always fun when he's around. He's just a fun dude. He's a big animal. He doesn't know his power. I guess my other funny Jared story, and then I'll go, is one time we were, man, this is dumb on me, but we'd had a few drinks, whatever, and so it was like 1 a.m, we're like waiting for an Uber, and I don't know why I do this, but I was like, I know that these guys are into like kickboxing and stuff, so I was like, is it true that like when you kickbox, you have to sort of like, start with your hip, right? That's where the power comes. He was like, yeah, it's like this, and he hit me, but he wasn't like doing it to like, but he's like, no, you really got to do it like that, and then you whack. Like, oh, I went into a trash can, knocked the trash can over, and he's like, oh, so sorry. He doesn't realize his own strength, Never ask Jared about kickboxing, okay? Note to self. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Benedict.